Let's move on to something completely different on the opposite side. Let's move on to a hip-hop album. Hell yeah, who doesn't like some good old hippity hop? And that album we're talking about is Damn by Kendrick Lamar. It's Kendrick Lamar's fourth studio album. He released it April 14th, 2017. So not that old. Kendrick Lamar's album is only 5 years old. It probably is barely going to preschool. It's a little shit. It may or may not still be wearing diapers. Who fucking knows? I don't know. Clocks in at a wonderful 54 minutes and 54 seconds with 14 tracks. I'm gonna be real with you. I'm not sure if 54 is supposed to mean something. I feel like it does, but I don't think it does. I think it was just coincidence. For me personally, this is actually my first Kendrick Lamar album I've ever heard. And it was a weird one for me. Because I remember I sat down, listened to the whole thing, and then I just kind of... I felt like I wasn't impressed by it first listen, but I realized like I just kept coming back to it though. Like I kept being like, oh, I don't know, like it something about it, like I just wanted to listen to it again. It was an album that I sat down and listened to it and went, I don't know, I'm not feeling this one. I don't know if I really like it that much, but I wanted to just keep going back to it and thinking about like why don't I feel unjustified in saying that I don't think it's a good album or I don't like it. And I was like, I feel like there's something here. There's something more to it that I don't realize that could help me appreciate it more. So I would listen to the album, from time to time here and there. I ended up buying it on CD and I would listen to it. I'd go like, yeah, I like this album. This is a good album. I think it was, I was like, I think this is a good album. I'm trying to just pinpoint what it is I like. Because I realized when it came to like individual songs, I was like, oh, I really like DNA. I really like Humble. And then one day, while, I don't know, perusing the interwebs like I normally do, I came across an article. The article talked about how the album Damn by Kendrick Lamar was actually in sort of the wrong song order. There's a theory that Damn was also supposed to be not only listened to front to back, track 1 to track 13, it was supposed to be listened to backwards as well. By backwards, I mean in reverse order. So from tracks 13 all the way to track 1. And it would be 2 separate albums, essentially, when you did that. So I heard that theory, and I was like, that's kind of cool, actually. And it made me want to listen to the album that way, too, because I was like, that's interesting. I remember I told a buddy of mine about that, and funny enough, he sends me an article where he's just like, holy shit, Joe Fish, you were right! And it was an article that had Kendrick in it, and he basically confirmed that, yes, 100% the album Damn is meant to be heard backwards in reverse order. He's like, I did that on purpose. Tell a different story. It was like, I'm gonna tell the same story from 2 different angles and stuff. So the album, the story for Damn by Kendrick Lamar, it's basically going through what is essentially like kind of a redemption story. It follows the main protagonist, the main character. I guess you could say it follows Kendrick himself. The album starts off with him being this like hard hood ass motherfucker who's fuck anybody up who looks at him the wrong way. He doesn't care. He just fucking runs the streets, motherfucker. He's fucking gangster, dude. And throughout the album, you go through it, and it's him kind of realizing, hey, maybe I shouldn't go through this life. Like, what am I doing? Why am I doing these like street things and trying to be thug and shit? He's kind of just like turning his life around, mainly with the fact that the idea is at the end of it, he's saying part of the reason I was able to turn shit around, and there was an incident where instead of some dude killing another dude who ended up being my father, he was super cool with him and they made amends and they ended up becoming best friends, and I was able to start this rap career. Otherwise I would have grown up without a father and potentially would have fucking died in a gunfight because I would have been a gangbanger or something. And then the interesting part is when you listen to it in reverse order, it's the exact opposite story. The idea is that, hey, here's Kendrick now living life without a father, and he's slowly kind of just delving down into being on the streets, being a thug and a gangster and stuff, and the album ends with him getting shot and dying. A little morbid, I know, but this is kind of the point. That's the story of it. Kendrick confirming this theory and saying, yeah, 100% I intentionally wrote this album to do that. I wrote the stuff for Lateralis first, and I started writing the stuff for Damn right after, and I realized, I was like, wow, with Damn confirming, or with Kendrick Lamar confirming this theory about Damn, it's kind of the opposite end of the spectrum from Lateralis, where everyone has a theory about Lateralis being like, oh, the tracks are in a different order, and it's actually, you know, this is called the Holy Gift, but there's no confirmation. You know, we can theorize all we want, we can speculate and say Maynard James Keenan was actually fucking writing about wanting to fuck a sheep or something. Like, no, you know, we can speculate all we want, but until the artist themselves has confirmed it, which Kendrick Lamar did in Damn, we're never going to know the real answer. There's always intention. Like, yeah, you can speculate and say, like, it's actually about this, and there's a lot of things that point towards something being about that or being that thing that you're speculating, but it will never be legitimate until the original artist has confirmed it themselves and said, yeah, 100 P, yeah, 100% I meant to do that. That's why I did that. Kendrick Lamar coming out and saying that about Damn, it was really the opposite end. It was like, wow, we have confirmation. We know for sure that it's a legit theory and it's a legitimate thing and it's true. So, you know, this was more of like a case of like artist intention rather than the journey of finding these answers. Because like with Lateralis, yeah, we may never know the answer to this album. We may never know if Tool truly wanted Lateralis to be in a different track order and intentionally put it in the wrong one for us to figure out, but it's the journey getting to that potential answer or trying to find that answer that is enjoyable. Whereas in Damn, we're at the end. We've already seen the journey. The journey is there, but we have the end point. The end point is there. The end thing happened already. We know the intention. We know what the purpose of the album is. We know what, but that doesn't mean we lost that journey. We still have that journey. Now we just have the end point. It's kind of like Lateralis and Damn are like, you know, two sides of the same coin in a weird way. To get away from meta overall talking stuff, does the album change if you listen to it backwards instead of frontwards? 100% actually. Seriously, it's kind of incredible actually. There are songs in Damn by Kendrick Lamar that when you hear them from beginning to end, they have one meaning. So for instance, the song Feel, it's pretty early on in the album, and it's Kendrick Lamar saying, oh, I feel like this, I feel like this, I feel like this, I feel like this, and he's listing off all these emotions, all this like anxiety, some of the anger he's feeling, depression, all these different emotions he's feeling. And when you listen to it front to back, it sounds like someone who's in a bad place currently and is reflecting on themselves and going, I feel bad and I feel all these emotions. I don't know why. Maybe I need to turn something around in my life. Maybe I need to change something in my life. Whereas when you listen to it back to front, when you get to to feel, that's towards the end of the album now. And instead it feels like someone who was in a decent place already. They were growing up and they were feeling decent, but they're starting to fall down into that despair. And they're saying, I feel like this, I feel like this, I feel like this. Fuck the world and fuck everything. I'm going to go fucking take out my anger somewhere, take out these feelings on something else. And that's part of the reason why he's so, by the end of the album, he's like this angry fucking thug that just wants to beat the shit out of everyone who looks him the wrong way. Then there's so many other examples too. Like the song Fear, it starts with Kendrick Lamar's uncle, Carl Duckworth. It starts off with this like voicemail that leaves for him. And he's just telling him like, hey, I hope you're doing all right. Hope everything's good. Hope you're fine and everything. Here, let me read you this excerpt from the Bible in Deuteronomy, blah, 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 this and that. And, he reads all this stuff. And what I find interesting is because Fear is near the end of the album, if you listen to it front to back, it feels like a song that's like, it's like an uncle calling his nephew that is currently going through some shit and trying to turn his life around. And he's like, hey, let me help you out with turning your life around. Remember, don't be angry. Don't be so mad at things. Try just remember these thoughts and stuff. Whereas on the flip side, if you listen to it back to front, because it's so early in the album, it feels like someone who is it feels like an uncle contacting a nephew, trying to keep him from falling into despair and falling into this like terrible lifestyle of being on the streets and being a thug and a gangster and stuff. Even my analysis on some of the songs, while they weren't necessarily like maybe the meaning of every song isn't necessarily confirmed, it's kind of my analysis. I still think it's very interesting what he's done. For fuck's sake, Damn was so well done of an album that it's the first ever non-classical / non-operatic or classical music, non-jazz, classical, or operatic piece of music to win a Pulitzer Prize. Which I don't know the exact criteria to win a Pulitzer Prize, but I have looked up who else has won a Pulitzer Prize, and It is some random shit that I don't think I would have ever listened to in my life had I not known about it from the Pulitzer Awards. It won the Pulitzer Award, I think, in 2018. Damn is probably up there, though. It's probably in that top 10 somewhere. Where in the top 10, I'm not sure yet. I got to figure that out one day. I'm sure you've heard it because you probably listened to the song DNA, but in DNA, there's like a point where like he goes, yeah, 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 soldier DNA. I quote that pretty often, but nobody else I think gets it. Until one day I had a friend and I think he wrote like, yeah, 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 yeah. And then I just sent the song like, oh, were you quoting this? And he was like, this guy gets it. And I was like, oh, thank goodness. It's literally like a 2-second clip from a 3 or 4 minute song. Like, it's not even the most memorable part of that song. If probably not. I don't know.